those of you who are new, just subscribe. Don't stop, don't wait, just do it. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and you're having a brilliant day wherever you are in this world. So today I've got a fantastic quilt for you, but before we get into this easy breezy super simple quilt, I am going to tell you, hey, I am almost at 10,000. Oh my god, I cannot believe it that it has come so quickly. Well, I had to work really hard for that, but I have to thank you guys because you have been supporting me, and for those of you who are new, welcome. And don't forget to subscribe if you're just watching. You know, it really helps the channel out. But I have some big ideas and I want to give away some quilts when we get to 10,000. So hurry up and get there, okay? For those of you who are new, just subscribe. Don't stop, don't wait, just do it. But I also want to invite you to follow me on my Instagram, and I'll put it in the description box down below, because you know, my daughter said to me, Mum, you've got almost 10,000 in YouTube but no subscribers or very few followers on Instagram. You should invite them. So I'm going to listen to my daughter and ask you to follow me on Instagram. So all the details will be in the description box down below. I'll even put it on the screen here so that you have no excuse not to follow me over there. All right, but this quilt is a jelly roll one, and it's, as I said, simple, easy, squeezy, lemon, juicy, all of those. All of those. It really is a simple one. And let me show it to you now. It's very bright and summery and full of purples and reds, all the beautiful, sexy colors. So this is what it looks like. It does remind me of a keyhole pattern, but it is not, but it does remind me of that. Let me show it to you again. So a very simplistic pattern for you. All right, but I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. And apparently there's a little bit of issues with YouTube, so just make sure that you receive all your notifications, so that way when the new video is uploaded by Crafty Quilting Designs, then you know it is me. I'm sorry guys, I'm in one of those silly moods. I tend to get those moods sometimes, and I annoy my husband when I get like that. He just look at me like, really? So, you see? Anyway, enjoy the tutorial. Let me know what you think in the description down below, because I look forward to hearing from you. And I've also did use my Temu iron as well while I was using this one, making this quilt, and I also used the quilting feet as well, as promised from the previous video or last week's tutorial. So I did use them to finish off this. The iron still works fantastically well, and of course the quilting feet works just fine. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Let me know what you think. Once again, I really look forward to hearing from you guys, as your view is really important. And as I said, there will be a pattern down below for you. So with that being said, enjoy the tutorial. Love you lots. See you in the next one. See you in the next one. Bye guys. Hey guys, so today's quilt is going to be a very quick one. I have a jelly roll here that I've had in my stash for a very long time, possibly about a year now. And so we're going to finally use it today. I think it's a stash of 40. I can't remember. Even the tag's gone from it now, so I don't know what it is, but we will soon figure it out. So we're going to use a jelly roll. It's a combination of different reds and pinks tones throughout the roll itself, but it looks really nice. So what I'm going to do is use the roll, but along with some 2.5-inch strips, and I'm going to show you how to cut that now. So I've already cut some of my strips that I think will work really nicely with the tone of the jelly roll. So if you have got a jelly roll, obviously you can use the whole jelly roll for this, but I want to mix it up. You can also use one solid color. So for example, you've got lots of tones of pinks, reds, etc. You can use just a basic tone color, i.e. whether it be a yellow, a nice pale yellow, or white or cream. So you can just use one tone. However, I'm going to go with something a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to look for prints that complement this, all right? So as I said before, I've already cut my strips here, and I'm going to open this in front of you. I don't usually open up my what do you call them again? Not gel. Okay, yeah, Karen, get your brain on. Yeah, I don't usually open it in front of you. I usually start the project and then I will go ahead to explain what's what. But it's got really beautiful colors in it, doesn't it? Look at that, absolutely gorgeous. So it looks like 40 strips in there. So I'm going to take one. I haven't really tried it out as to whether or not I think it would work, but I think it should. I have a good eye for these things, as you guys have actually told me. So I think the pink and blue would work. Even if I use that with it, it will still work. Yeah, let's have a look at this one here. I love this one. That's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. So even that will work as well. Yes, I was right. So I am going to mix it. It's not just going to be these two colors. I am going to throw a little bit of purple in there. And a lot of these strips have literally come from excess fabric. So like if I've made a quilt, obviously, and I have extra, then I will trim them down into 2.5-inch strips, or from binding, where I would usually get these from. So I tend to, on most occasions, cut down any leftover fabric from a project into 2.5 or 5 inches or 10 inches. So I think this would work also. I probably wouldn't mix the purple and the red together, but on the camera it looks really nice. In front of me it's a little bit strong, but on the camera it does work. Let's try this one with it. Yeah, that's a bit of a dark tone, so obviously I would probably not use these two together because I want it to be nice and bright. All right, obviously with this one. So again, you know, lights and darks always goes together, so you can use that sort of combination to actually decide on what you want to do. Yeah, these two darks work together. All right, so you get an idea of what I am doing here. So I've got another light one here. I think this again is light, so that will work really well. So remember, you're just using your strips with your jelly roll, but you can use your whole jelly roll if that makes you happy. All right, so I'm just going to put that to the side. As I said, I have already cut my extra strips, so I'm going to cut a jelly roll now. I'm going to go with the red. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to put it together because I am intending on getting at least 2 blocks from one jelly roll strip, and I'm just simply putting it together. So it's folded here, just so that you're aware and you don't think that that's the length of the jelly roll. So cutting that. I'm just going to measure the amount I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will be a pattern that you can download. So I'll give you all the sizes on the pattern, obviously. So once you've done that, I'll do that one there. I'll do another one as well. So make sure you actually count because I know myself, I will definitely forget and just cut. But what I tend to do sometimes, so for example, the way how I've done this, I will just simply line it all up and just cut it again. So the objective here to making this, so I'm going to go with the blue since I think those two goes together. So the objective here is you're going to need some smaller squares, some longer rectangles, and another set of shorter rectangles as well. Okay, so all I'm going to do basically, I'm going to show you the layout now. It's quite simplistic. So you separate your block. So one goes, of those smaller squares will go there. One of these will go there. And the other half of the block, where is it? Will go there. And this one will go there. So that is the objective of making the block. So I'm going to pick the camera up, and I'll show it to you a lot more detail. So that's how the block is going to look. So as you can see, that's your smaller square, that's your longer rectangle, shorter rectangle attached with the smaller square, as well as your bigger rectangle here. So that's it. This is really sort of vibrant. So what we're looking for is that sort of zigzag or shape, or C shape or S shape, however you want to identify. Just get a rhythm in your head that is what you're looking for, that curve there. All right, so if I were to, for example, move the blue out and add a different color in, let's see what that looks like. So I'll separate these two, bring that one in there. And I do like this combination with it. It seems to have complemented it quite nicely already. So add that one in there. Move the camera up, my apologies. Bring those ones back in. So I'm just reaching for this here. And all I'm going to do is then lay that in there. Now obviously it's going to look a little bit on the big side, or not correctly cut, but just bear in mind that it has to be stitched together. All right, and then I move the blue out of the way here. Add this one. I totally prefer this color. I think the blue is a little bit too strong, and you can definitely see the pattern a little bit more. I mean, again, it really doesn't matter. You're using up your scratch as long as you choose colors that blends in with the tone of your jelly roll. All right, so that is it. So I'm going to sew these two together first, front sides, and then obviously sew the whole row together, and then we'll trim it down to size. So let's go have a look at that now. Okay guys, so from cutting my strips, I decided was to lay all of the cuts out, and I've also laid out the block so that it reminds me on what I need to do. Okay, so I'm showing you this method so that you can, if you decide to make this quilt, you can use the same method or for any other quilt. So I usually will put all of the necessary cuts ready for the block in my color pattern that I want. So each of them is different, as you can tell. I will lay out one of the block and use that block consistently to sew all of the pieces together. And this will be the last block to be sewn, because obviously this is my visual reminder. Okay, what I also wanted to point out to you is that you can change the direction of the flow of the block. So if you wanted, for example, to swap it around, you can simply then move it to this side, and also this one here, so you can see a different flow in the block. All right, so what I'm talking about, I'm referring to it coming this way before it was going the other way. All right, so that's what I'm referring to, but it's up to you. You can, I have decided to do half and half, which doesn't really matter. You know, it all depends on the layout. If you do turn the block around, you will also get a different sort of flow of the blocks, but we will come to that later when we need to lay the blocks out. But important tip here is to get all your patches together, all your strips together, sorry, and then have an example in front of your visual, sit next to your sewing machine, and then you can just continue to chain piece all of them. And what I have been doing is just chain piecing one particular block. I am making a block at a time. Because of the flow of the block, it can get quite confusing, so I wouldn't advise you to simply chain piece all at the same time. So that's why I'm doing the block. Okay, and the fact that you've taken the time to lay all the blocks out together individually with the color patterns that you want, I think you might end up confusing yourself. At least I think I would anyway, but this is the method I'm using, so I want to make a block at a time. All right, so I'll show you how to make the block now, but I've already demonstrated that, but I'll show you the layout once I've done with all of this. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you how to piece the block together. So I have laid the block out here. This is the last one, and I thought that before I finished off all the piecing, let me piece this one in front of you. So the way how I've laid it out, you have two layouts, okay? It is the same, however the flow of it is different. So when I say the flow, I am talking about the more pieced fabric. So for example, this one here, so you can see it flows that way. All right, so that's what I'm aiming at here. Now if you were to change the flow, so if I were to move this over like so and add this one over here, then the flow comes from this way, all right, with the more patterned fabric. All right, what I would say is choose one, okay? Don't mix it up. So the one I have chosen is the first one that I've actually showed you how to piece it together. So I'm going to put it back. So I have been piecing all of my blocks with this particular flow here, coming down and across, okay, to finish it off. So that's the way I've been piecing it. So all of my blocks are the same. The reason I'm saying that is the layout, and I will explain that once I have shown you the layout together and why I've decided to do it that way. Now you can mix it up if you want, but as I said, I chose not to, for the reason because I don't want these fabrics coming across each other. So let me grab a block and show you. For example, when you lay it out, you would lay it out in this particular way. All right, in fact, let me stop and then I would show you the layout properly rather than explain it now. So I'm going to sew it together now. So to sew this together, you need to start with the smaller piece of fabric first, front sides together, as I explained earlier. So just watch me do this and then we'll move on from there. Okay guys, so you're looking at the layout at the moment. So the way how I've laid this out is with this area here to the left. So all of them is laid out the exact same way. Now if you decided was to change it, you can, but I like this particular layout. You could also put it the other way around. Now the reason why I didn't do that is because I didn't want the jelly roll strip matching like that. I didn't want it buttoned up to each other. So the reason why I've turned it this way is so that it gives an alternating effect with the jelly rolls, so it's not running right into each other. But it doesn't really make any huge difference. It's really down to you and how you want to lay it out. So what I'm going to do is I haven't pressed the blocks. I have just literally sewn it together and use my seam press just to press the seams down, but I'm going to stitch the whole thing together as is, and then I would then iron the whole quilt top. All right, so that's the plan so far. It is a lot of red in that jelly roll, so I've tried to balance it out as much as possible. There was a lot of reds and pinks in it, so that's literally the colors. These colors here is what I have added to the jelly roll just to give it a little bit of balance. Even this one here, I've added in that one as well. I've also added in this one here again just to give it a bit of balance, because I felt there was a lot of red. There still is a lot of red, but hopefully it should be all right. I'm not really worried about that. That is the jelly roll I bought because I liked it, so that's the way it looks. Okay, so I'm going to sew it together, and then I'll just go ahead with the quilting and then we'll take it from there. So I have now stitched it all together. And what I wanted to explain to you further is the way in which you need to measure the quilt top. So I have folded it in half and I've laid it down on the board right to the end of one of my grid lines here. And then I have laid it also along there. So what you need to do is to make sure that the grid lines at the bottom here is lined up properly, and then align your ruler and straighten the edges. Okay, now the most important thing here, and you will do that for all 4 sides of the quilt top. Now the most important thing here is ironing. And what I found is that if you decide to move the iron all over the quilt top, you will make it stretchy. In this case, what you need to do is to place the iron and move just forward every time when you iron, and nice and smooth, and that way it doesn't get out of shape, because at the end of the day we are using strips here, and of course with jelly roll strips, when you sew them together they can get a little bit weakened because we are sewing them on the bias, isn't it? That's how they're cut. So just wanted you to bear that in mind. So again, your iron is down and you're going in line with the flow of the quilt top. All right, so no swishy-washy to side, just straight in order to keep it from being stretchy. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is add a border and add another border and then get the whole thing completed. All right guys, so what I have done is with the balance of the strips, so I've sewn the block together, I've sewn the whole quilt up together and added a very small border. So what I have done now, I wanted to bring wait till the camera catch up. I wanted to bring the pattern, or using the same strips from the quilt top onto the edge for the border. So I'm creating my own sort of strip piece border. I think some people call it the piano border. So what I've done is taken 2 of the jelly roll strips and I've just simply sewed them together, and I'm cutting them like so. All right, so I'm just cutting them to a particular size, and whatever balance of strips that I have, the jelly roll strips, so as you can see it's a different color here. I've got this one here as well, so I'm just mixing them, to be honest. All right, and all I'm going to do is to sew them together like so. I'm not going to bend that down right now. So I'm just going to sew them together like so, basically join them together in the long strip. I am considering adding a cornerstone to each of the 4 corners, so this will be the final border. All right, so that is where I am at the moment. I just thought I'll jump in, show my face and let you know what I've been up to so far. So I'm going to add on that now. That will be the final border, so I thought I'll let you know before I complete it. And then I am going to quilt it. Now I was considering adding another border, but I am not sure. Obviously when you add borders is another way of making the quilts larger, and I don't necessarily want to make it into a large quilt. Now there is a lot of colors within this quilt top, a lot of colors. There's a lot of pinks, a lot of reds, so I'm trying not to add any more of that. So or even if I do, it may be a pink that stands out, but considering the border is going to be a mismatch of colors, I think I may just leave it there. All right, not sure at this point what sort of binding I'm going to add, but again, when I do add a binding, I also tend to think of the binding as the final frame for the quilt. That's how I see the border. So, you know, it's framing it whether in cool tones or light tones, and then that final border must be that frame that sort of brings everything together. And I always use that term, bring everything together, but I just mean that it holds it, you know, it's allowing you to focus and see every layer of material or color in this sense. All right, so I'm going to finish off that now, and then I'm going to quilt it, very quick quilting. I may do meandering, I may do just the stipple, I may do loop-to-loops, but it will be something quick. With these sort of strips, I tend not to, and and I tend not to, but I have in the past quilted every 2.5-inch roll, which can make the quilting process a lot longer. But in this case, I don't want to do that because I've got another video planned for you to do already, so I don't really want to delay this any longer. And sometimes I don't feel that every quilt deserves an intricate quilting. Sometimes doing a simple meander or swirls suits that quilt, and I always say, you know, let the quilt talk to you as to what you want to add to it. Don't just do things like, you know, quick and not really thinking about, but let the pattern say to you, this is what I deserve. All right, so that's what I'm thinking, as again something really simple. Okay, so I'm going to move on with that, and then I will show you the final complete quilt. All right, also there will be a pattern for you to download. It'll be in the description box down below, and of course I'm sure I've mentioned that already. Okay guys, so let's see what happens. Okay guys, so the quilt is completed. This quilt measures 52 by 60. What do you think about it? Just going to go around very slowly so you can have a look at the pattern. I've decided to call this quilt ladders because that is what the pattern reminds me of. It's very bright. Lots of reds, lots of pinks. I think I said I told it measures 52 by 60. The quilting was very easy on this. I'll go in closer so you can have a look. Beautiful quilt, loving the ladder border, loving the cream that allows it to be framed, and you can see the ladders within the quilt. Very, very nice. It does remind me of a keyhole pattern, but very simplistic idea, nothing too difficult at all. But overall, very simple to make. Loving the idea of the quilt. Looks really beautiful. So I'm just going in slowly so you can absorb it. So you can see I did just the wiggly lines, wavy lines on the end. In the corner, I did a little motif there. So very simplistic quilting really, nothing too fussy on it at all, so that I can complete the quilt quite quickly. Overall, it was good experience making it, very fast quilt, very easy. Obviously, you just need to cut the strips down and sew them together into a very simplistic pattern. But other than that, no issues at all. Love the binding. So it's just a simple yellow binding all around. On the back, which I absolutely love, a beautiful floral print. Can't miss this, isn't it? Absolutely gorgeous. Very, very beautiful. So bright and summery. In fact, the whole quilt is actually very summer. I would say this quilt is very much suited for a picnic. At least the others wouldn't lose you. Because once they see this bright, beautiful quilt, there she is, or there they are. But lovely. Let me know what you think down below, guys. As I said, it's very much lots of pinks and blues and reds as well. That's what stands out to me. I can see the purples as well standing out really strong. And I used a cream border just to frame it, but also brought the colors back onto the edges in that border. And then I used some cornerstones of solid blue, well, the blue that's within there. And obviously just do bear in mind that the blues was not part of the collection, nor was the purple. And I'm referring to the general collection. Okay, those were extras that I actually put in there. But I think it's really nice. It sort of toned it down a little bit and add a little bit of a cool tone. There's lots of, as I said, vibrant colors in here. lots of tones, but I think it works. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your comment and if there's something you can actually do. And I look forward to hearing from you. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. Give me a thumbs up for this one and please share the video around. It does really help the channel out. And I'm coming up to 10,000 guys, so yay! So excited about that. Thanks so much to all of you. But we will have some celebrations to talk about that a little bit later on. But for now, let me know what you think about the quilt. So happy quilting, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.